The girl was shocked to discover that the numbers appearing above her head could predict her score in the next competition. Strangely enough, every time the girl spent a day studying, this predicted score would drop. But when the girl spent a day having fun, the score would instead rise. However, the girl did not choose to keep having fun because of this. On the contrary, she studied even harder despite the dropping score. The only reason was that she knew no matter how many points she actually scored in the exam, her stepsister would swap their scores in the end. In her previous life, after the girl found out that the numbers above her head represented her competition score, she spent every day only having fun. In the end, the number above her head became 148 points, which was close to a perfect score. But when the exam results were released, the girl only got 10 points. On the contrary, her stepsister, who had always had poor grades, actually got 148 points, and the stepsister even got the opportunity to enter the research institute because of this score. As for the girl, her parents arranged for her to work in a factory. It was not until the moment before she was beaten to death by the gangsters hired by her stepsister that the girl finally found out the truth. The score above her head had always been controlled by her stepsister. Moreover, it was also the stepsister who had swapped her final exam score. The girl eventually passed away with endless regret, but she never expected that in the very next second, she would be reborn and returned to 1 month before the competition. At this moment, her stepsister was pretending to be earnest and pulling the girl to go study together. The girl knew that the stepsister was testing whether she had believed in the numbers above her head, so she deliberately put on an act and burned her exercise book on the spot, saying that she no longer needed to review. Sure enough, after hearing this, the stepsister thought that the girl had fallen into her trap. However, the girl did not let her guard down. Instead, she turned around and quietly put a tiny bug into the stepsister's pocket. Then she started to secretly study on her own. Sure enough, it did not take long for the stepsister to notice that the score above the girl's head was dropping. She immediately realized that the girl was still studying, so she summoned her system to find a way to deal with this situation. But the system told her not to panic, because if the score above the girl's head dropped below 60 points, the girl would explode. Upon hearing this, the girl was also instantly panic-stricken, because the score above her head was already very close to 60.